A very good evening to you all. If I'm audible, please let me know that in the chat box. If I'm audible, welcome to this live by Pathfinder for me. Every Saturday we have these lives on Friday. Every Friday and Saturday we have these lives at 6:30 p.m. aimed at solving cat level questions. Solving cat level questions. And please understand, the objective is very simple. The objective is not to teach a topic here, or the objective is not to explain a concept. The objective is simply to help people relate to cat level problems, cat level questions, and understand, how cat level questions are like. And we simply solve these questions every Friday and Saturday. So this week again, we have taken uh, English as the area, and under English, we will be solving questions related to parajumbles. But this time, these questions will be more like the parajumble questions that you will see in CAT, or you've been seeing in CAT in the last 3-4 years. Okay. So can you all see my screen also now? Is my screen visible or not visible? Okay, my voice is audible but breaking. Is it audible now? Is it audible now, please? Let me check the speed here. I don't think there is any problem with the speed here. Others, please let me know. Somebody has written on the chat. Am I audible now? Okay. So please respond immediately. Actually, okay, the speed is slightly on. No, it's not on the slower side as well. At my end, the speed is perfect. Okay, now. So let us go to the question straight away without any further delay. Okay, so the process will be simple and similar. What we will be doing again is solving questions one by one by one. I'll be giving you some time for each question, and then you can probably solve those questions in 2 minutes, mostly 2 minutes. So here is our timer, and let us go to the first question now. Okay, so first question, your time starts now. Okay. So how many of you got the answer? Okay, we have a few answers here. Let us see how to approach this question. Now, there are no options here, correct? You can't see any options. So the one thing you need to do is you'll have to scan through the sentences. You don't have any options to guide you about the opening or the closing sentences. So start with the first sentence. Impartiality and objectivity are fiendishly difficult concepts. It encourages us into. So this cannot be your opening sentence. Who is definitely not your opening sentence. Twitter's website says the tweets you are likely to care about most will show up first in your timeline based on accounts. Now, the first thing I need to see is what does this it stand for? Because the moment you have a pronoun, there has to be a reference for the pronoun. So what can this it stand for? This will give you a clue as to what your answer can be. Look at the other sentences. Impartiality and objectivity are fiendishly means extremely difficult or cruel. So concepts that can cause all sorts of injustices. So it cannot stand for impartiality or objectivity. Twitter's website says that tweets you're likely to care about the most will show up first. It can stand for Twitter. Now, this is one thing I can see. We are only told of some basic principles, and we can't see the algorithm itself, making it hard for citizens to analyze the system. So he's talking about a totally different thing. So one thing I can see is there is a connection between 3 and 2. Correct? Twitter's website says that tweets you're likely to care about the most will show up first in your timeline based on accounts of sorry. Yeah. So 3 and 2, there is a link. That is the first thing I recognize. So 3 has to be followed by 2. Now let us look at the other two sentences. Okay. Let us look at the other two sentences. It encourages us into bubbles of people we know and like while binding us to different perspectives. But the deeper problem of transparency lies in the words and much more. So this gives you a clue of what the next statement can be and much more. So we are only told some of the basic principles and we can't see the algorithm itself, making it hard for citizens to analyze the system sensibly or fairly or be convinced of its impartiality and objectivity. So impartiality and objectivity are fiendishly difficult concepts that can cause all sorts of injustices even if transparently implemented. Now, why 1 cannot be followed by 4? Because this statement, we are only told some basic principles. Now, this is totally irrelevant to the first statement. It has no connection with the first statement. Correct? And moreover, the word, but the deeper problem of transparency lies in the words. This gives you a clue. Now, we are told only some of the basic principles. So, which tells you that something is not really very transparent. So 3 to 4 is one set of connection. And 1 should be the first statement because it opens an idea. It gives you the basic idea. Impartiality and objectivity are fiendishly difficult concepts that can cause all sorts of injustices, even if transparently implemented. So here, 1 is followed by a specific example of Twitter's website. 2 is an elaboration of what happens on the Twitter's website, and 4 is the summation. And that is why 1, 3, 2, 4. This is a question from CAT 18. CAT 2018. Identical question, no changes at all. I hope the explanation is clear to you. If it is clear, give me a thumbs up. If it is not clear, you are entitled to ask me a question, but I guess it should be clear by now. Let us go to the next question. Okay, so your time starts now. Okay, so mostly we've got answers to 431, 4231, 2413. Okay, let us see. Again, we'll just scan through these. Again, it's an original actual CAT question. Not very difficult, I would say. This question, you should be able to get right such questions. The eventual diagnosis. So obviously, this cannot be your opening sentence. The viola player didn't know what it was. So again, this doesn't look like the first question, first sentence. Then a routine scan. So then tells me this is not the first statement either. First statement has to be 4. It started with a lump on Kathy Perkins' index finger. So obviously, it started with a lump on Kathy Perkins' index finger. Then a routine scan showed it had come back. So for it to come back, it should go away first. So 4 cannot be followed by 3. The viola player, obviously Kathy Perkins has been referred to as the viola player here, didn't know what it was, nor did her GP. GP here stands for the general practitioner. So 4 has to be followed by 2. So they didn't know what it was. Then you have to have 1. The eventual diagnosis was skin cancer, and after treatment all seemed well. So here we have some words which indicate that it had gone away. So 421. And after everything seemed well, then a routine scan showed it had come back and spread to her lungs. 421 and then 3. This is your correct answer. Is the explanation clear to you all? Is the explanation clear? Just give me a thumbs up if it is clear. Okay, all of you should give me a thumbs up if it is clear to you. All right. Let us go to the next one. Your time starts now. All right. How many of you got the answer? Okay, I've got one answer, 1423. I've got another answer, 1423. Any other answer? Let me check if there is any other answer on YouTube. No, there isn't any answer on YouTube. Anybody who has been able to solve it on YouTube? I guess not. Okay, so let's have a look at this question. Now, understand one thing: to solve questions like these, you need to have an understanding of connections between the questions or between the sentences. I'm sorry. And unless and until you are able to find connectors that bind two sentences together, you will never be able to solve these questions without options correctly. So there is no doubt about the opening sentence. The woodlands canopy receives most of the sunlight that falls on trees. And most people got this part correct. 1 followed by 4. Hundreds of thousands of insects, because canopy is the link between these two sentences. So first sentences tells you about the sunlight that the canopy receives, and then hundreds of insects fly in the sunshine up above the canopy, some falling prey to swifts and swallows. Now see, this gives you a clue. Some falling prey to swifts and swallows. So obviously now some information out of these two sentences. Sentence 3 tells you with their streamlined bodies, swifts are agile flyers, ideally adapted to twisting and turning as they chase flying insects. So why, this connects falling prey to swifts and swallows and chasing flying insects. In fact, how they are able to chase and eat those insects. This is clear from sentence number 3. So 1 4 should be followed by 3. And then, after you talk about how they prey in woodlands, then you will come up with the sentence: swifts do not confine themselves to woodlands, but hunt wherever there are insects in order. So 2. The correct order will be 1 4 followed by 3 and then 2. 1 4 3 2. Have you understood this? Again, another cat question. These questions are from cat 2016, 2015, some cat. Originally, this question would have been, I guess, with options. I think so. This question is with options, but I removed the option because the process remains the same. If you understood, give me a thumbs up. So when you are figuring out a particular question, please look at connections very carefully and look at parts of the sentences which will help you determine which two sentences connect together. Okay. Next. Okay, your time starts now. Please begin. All right. So how many of you got the answer? Again, 4. Everybody has started. So why did you start with 4? I would like to know that. Anyone who can tell me? Most of you have started this passage with 4. The fundamental concept prices are not predictable, but mathematical laws of chance can describe their fluctuations. Why? Anyone who can tell me why this looks like an opening sentence for you? Okay, so let us scan. Yeah, you were saying something. Please go ahead.
Because it starts with a quote. Prices are not predictable, but the mathematical laws of chance can describe their fluctuation.
The word is it. It refers to fundamental concept. Right? How can this fundamental price concept can be said to be have emerged from maths of statistics, of chance and statistics? No, it's one fundamental concept. You cannot say that such a fundamental concept could have emerged. It's a fundamental concept, right? What is the meaning of fundamental? That forms the basis of anything. So how can something that forms the basis of anything have emerged from mathematics of chance and statistics? जब आप उसको फंडामेंटल बोल रहे हो, उसका मतलब है वो मतलब वही वो किसी और चीज का आधार है, वही और किसी चीज का बेसिस है, and therefore it cannot refer to fundamental concept, and therefore there is the only other thing that it can refer to out of these 5 is modern finance. So this is how what business school now call modern finance was born. And yes, now I can say that this whole subject could have emerged from mathematics of chance and statistics. Absolutely. 5 can be followed by 2. And now you can have a fundamental concept for modern finance or mathematics of chance and statistics. The fundamental concept, prices are not predictable, but mathematical laws of chance can describe their fluctuation. So 5 to 4. Correct? And if mathematical laws of chance can describe something, therefore risk is measurable and manageable. So 3. This is the orthodoxy. Now, what orthodoxy is the author referring to here? The risk is measurable and manageable. This orthodoxy is what the author is referring to. So 5 2 4 3 1. This is the correct answer. This CAT question had options actually. And I understand in the absence of options, the question might look a bit stiff, or tough, but I hope you have been able to follow what I have said and why it cannot refer to the fundamental concept. Right? A fundamental concept is there on its own. It's a fundamental concept. You cannot say it emerged from something complex. Is the point very, very clear to all? If it is clear, give me a thumbs up. If it is not, ask me a question. And see, unless you understand, no matter what people tell you, no matter what people describe, unless you understand what is written in the sentence, it will be very difficult for you to just do questions all correct, just on the basis of finding connectors. So connectors, yes, but to be able to place those connectors, you also need to be you need to understand what is written there. And that is the first skill which you have to develop if you want to crack CAT. There are no shortcuts here. So obviously, in the absence of time, we can develop certain strategies which might help us someplace. But if you want to solve most of them correctly, the only way that can be done is you have to develop your understanding, and yes, then apply what we talk about in the classes. So when we discussed Parajumbles, we discussed a lot of things about opening sentences, about closing sentences, about how connections are there between the sentences. Here we are only applying those concepts. Next question. And your time starts now. All the 5 questions of today are old cat questions only. Okay, anybody who's got the answer? Okay. So most of you were able to identify question, statement 2 as the opening sentence, which is perfect. Fights involving 3 male fiddler crabs have been recorded, but the status of participants was unknown. And because the status was unknown, what will we first do? We will record first or we will track first? Obviously, we will track first. So 2 has to be followed by 5. We therefore tracked 268 intruder males until we saw them fighting a resident male. Correct? So we recorded 17 cases in which a resident was fighting. So 5 has to be followed by 4. So after tracking and you saw them fighting, you recorded 17 cases. So fighting is the glue that connects 5 and 4 together. So we recorded 17 cases in which a resident was fighting an intruder, was joined by an immediate neighbor and ally. Right? Resident fighting an intruder joined by an ally. Who does this they refer to? Resident and the neighbor. So they only pushed and grappled only with the intruder. 3. And then the 2 neighbors, this is the ending sentence, the 2 neighbors never fought each other. 2, 5, 4, 3, 1. Once again, I repeat, unless and until you are able to make sense of the statements, you will find it very difficult to get them all correct. A very close, a very precise reading is required, and very quickly that too. And keep looking for keywords that can help you connect. And remember, mostly the connectors will be structure words. The connectors will be the actors in the statements. The connectors can also be their actions. In this case, between 5 and 4, the connectors is the action. So you tracked till you saw them fighting a resident male. And the next sentence also talks about fighting. We recorded 17 cases. After tracking only, you can record. Is the point very clear? 25431 should be your answer. Is this point absolutely clear? Any doubt on this? Is the solution clear? Okay. So we have exhausted our quota of questions for today. I thank you all for... Oh, my video was switched off today. Okay, so I thank you all for joining here for the live session. Do join the next live tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow again, we will have some Parajumble questions, which will be based on old CAT questions. And if you have any doubts, if you want to ask any queries related to CAT preparation, you can reach out to me here, 98260-62415. That's my number. You can always reach out to me on this number, or you can also reach out to our official numbers 93439-21347, and we shall respond. That's all for today. Thank you.